listen to this. Germany 1, England 5.
Michael, what a night. You couldn't have dreamed of this.
No, well, I mean, you can dream of it. You don't think it's going to come true, and to come away to any team nowadays in Europe and win 5-1 is unbelievable, and to make it Germany is just, no one would have predicted that result, but, some of us may have predicted the England win because, we're a good team, and it's just about time we start showing them how good we are.
You do realise the last Englishman to score a hat-trick against Germany international was?
So, Jeff?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great on a personal note to score a hat-trick, but I don't want to take all the credit. David Seaman at 1-1 made a world-class save, and if that had gone in for 2-1 to them, then it's a different story. Likewise, Stevie Gerrard scores a great goal. You can't say anyone had a bad game today. Everyone was, 10 out of 10 in the papers tomorrow, I suspect.
David, what a place to come and get a result.
Yeah, it was. We knew it was going to be hard, but to start off with, which it proved. We went 1-0 down. We had to grind it out, but that shows the character of the whole team. We had to work hard for each other, and we done that. There's a lot of characters out there in the team, and we proved that. Michael's starting us rolling, and then Stevie, great strike. And then the ball was rolling. We knew we had to come out the second half and not start like we did in the first half. So we started well and got another goal, and it went on from there.
Can you remember having seen so many quality goals scored in an international game?
No, not at all. I really didn't take notice in the quality of the goals. It's just, one after the other. You couldn't really believe those going in the way they were.
Qualification is now back in England's hands. It's now about goals, isn't it?
Yeah, but now we have Albania Wednesday, and that's a very difficult and dangerous game, because after a victory like this, it's easy to go out and just use one leg, and that should be crazy after such a great game as boys did today.
We've got another game on Wednesday. How do we approach that one?
The same way we've approached this, Albania game's no different to Germany. We've got to go in with the same attitude. As I say, if we don't win against Albania, this result's no good, you know what I mean? So we've got to build on that and get 6 points out of the 2 games, and then take that into the Greece game, make sure we finish top of the group because we're in the driving seat now.
So England are within 3 points of Germany. There's been a complete change around in terms of goal difference. England can go to the top of the group by beating Albania on Wednesday, victory at St James's Park, and victory over Greece at Old Trafford on October the 6th would almost certainly see them qualify for next year's World Cup finals as Group 9 winners. For England fans at this euphoric stage of the proceedings, the playoffs have receded. Now, Mark Lawrenson needed 3 very early morning calls to get his day going, and he's joined by 2 Telegraph writers, Patrick Barclay and Henry Winter. Broadsheet stamina. They didn't need early morning calls because they didn't go to bed. And we're delighted that you managed to get here this morning. Henry, first of all, there's an Irishman and a Scotsman there. The Englishman good and true. Fantastic. What a night, what a game, what an everything.
Brilliant. Someone like me goes there as an England reporter, and you end up as an England supporter because you just see a performance like that, and it was a privilege to be there. You look at things that Steven Gerrard was doing on the pitch. You look at the pace of Michael Owen, and you look around at the end, and you see England fans, and their eyes are lit up. They're walking out into the night, singing their heads off. It was fantastic to be there. An
historic victory given Germany's record in World Cup qualifiers. They'd never lost a meaningful one on World Cups. Also, as the Scotsman, we now give you a great opportunity to say exactly what you think of this now.
What do you want me to say? Congratulations. Yeah. No, what I would say is that I was actually born in London. And my
Can you pass me, please, that humble pie?
I've got 2 English children, so... it was quite interesting that Garth Crooks asked David Beckham about the quality of the goals, but what struck me was that they were put away with training ground aplomb. England weren't straining for effect. In the end, they were playing like a club side, and we saw that begin in Greece in the previous game, and the way Eriksson has done that can only be put down as a credit to him. But yes, we're still all pinching ourselves.
As it now starts to sort of sink a little and we reflect on a great night, what are the things about England's performance that jump to the forefront of your mind?
Well, I think, if you take the game overall, right, it was a surreal night anyway. It was fantastic to be there, but it was also very, very strange. However, what you do have to say in terms of the game, at 1-1, Seaman made a great save. Great save. He'd had nothing to do for 20 minutes. He made an outstanding save. Diesel, whatever you want to call him, missed a great opportunity. And there's no doubt that, it was crucial, the timing of Gerrard's goal for England, obviously England's second goal. From then on, It was just, well, I think somebody mentioned the training ground. That's exactly what it was. And England were outstanding. But you also have to say that it's probably the worst German team I've ever seen. And it's probably, arguably, the worst international back three I've seen for a long, long time.
I was going to say this, actually.
Link has changed. He's got a different first name. Weakest.
Yep.
Weakest Link. It was frightening.
But
Honestly.
worse than they were in Euro 2000?
Yeah,
when
I think
England
so.
With
more static, and that was with Mateus as well, Paddy.
Yeah, well,
who
that
couldn't
was-
run anyway.
Well, exactly. I thought that made them even worse than they were.
But no, I don't take anything away from England because they played really, really well. But the Germans were hopeless.
In which case, contextualise it for us, guys, as those of us who are not as emotionally connected with this, albeit we've been very impressed. Can you put this in context? Is it a brilliant England team, or is it a pretty average German one?
Well, it's how they react. It's how they react to this performance. If they, read the press and believe that they've already won the next 5 World Cups, just because they've beaten Germany 5-1, which looks marvellous in Rothmans, but we saw the game. If they keep working in the way that to get to this, in the way that they have done to get to this standard, then I think actually they could become the best team. In fact, I'm sure they will become the best team in the world. But if they start believing that, that's dangerous, because we've seen that so often from English teams. It's dangerous
But Paddy,
because,
I
let's
don't think
face
they will
it,
get
this,
carried
whatever you might say about Germany, this is an arrogant nation.
But Paddy, they won't get carried away because of the manner of the coach. I think he's
I
come
think
in
that's
there.
a big plus.
He's come in there. He's a foreigner. He's not caught up in this great English emotion of beating Germany. The first thing he said after the match, he said, we've got to forget about the match now and focus on Albania, which is completely right. So I think, you look at someone like him, and he's not a very emotional person. He's not going to get carried away. You looked at him in the aftermath of a great English victory, and his idea of celebrating was raising 2 eyebrows rather than 1. He does not get carried away, and he will keep the players' feet on the ground. I think you've got a very sensible bunch there of players.
I think it's a good England team. It's on its way to becoming a very good England team. Whether they can ultimately win the ultimate prize, I'm not sure about that, because that for me,
I can't see who's going to stop them.
well, that for me would depend on you've only got to lose a couple of players, and I think it then just becomes back to a very good England team.
Where does Michael Owen now stand as we look at the top strikers around Europe and the world now?
I don't think Michael Owen does stand. He's moving too quickly.
He's on top.
The best in Europe now.
Yeah. But you've got to judge him by the very highest standards. I mean, after all, he came in 1998 and made the biggest impression on a World Cup of any teenager since Pele in 1958. So he set himself a bit of a standard to live up. He's never going to live up to that standard. But you've got to look at him as a potentially great player, and I think he's heading in that direction. I mean, he's gone through quite a lot with injuries, which obviously 21 years of age, and it's the age of this England team that is so exciting.
Can I go back to a point you guys made earlier on, and that's with regard to
contextualising,
darling. Yes,
this must be BBC Two,
Laura.
is it?
and Sunday.
In terms of what you're saying about England going on to win a World Cup, already the bookmakers have flashed the odds from 16-1 to 9-1 overnight. Now, is that a symptom of what you've been talking about, Paddy?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's probably a symptom of, yes, exactly, because it's reflecting the money people are putting on. I have to say, Hazel, that I put my money on, quite a lot of it for an ordinary working chap like me, at 20-1. So
and he's a Scot.
Indeed.
And I'm a Scot, yeah.
It depends which World Cup you talk about, whether you're talking about 2002 or 2006. I think
They'll
2006
they'll win
in
one or
Germany.
the other, I'm sure.
In terms of qualification now, plain sailing or banana skins along the way still? Or are we all going to get really carried away today? It's very, very easy.
Well, I'm worried. I mean, from the English point of view, I would be worried about the Greece game. But Loro says he doesn't think there's any danger there.
Oh, I think they'll qualify now. I think that's it. And I think, obviously, Greece much harder than Albania, but Greece away from home, Old Trafford, no thanks.
Well, the big question now is, I guess, will Germany be able to get through via the playoffs?
Well,
Ukraine.
Yes. Well, I think the problem is, and we spoke about the German back three. I mean, they're coming up against the likes of Rebrov and Shevchenko, as we know, and then the two of them together, absolutely brilliant. I mean, Shevchenko's first goal here, sensational player, and I don't know where Germany go in relation to playing.
But is that team good enough to beat the Germans?
It would frighten me to death. I mean,
They could beat them at home.
Goal.
Yeah. They could beat them in Kiev.
Who? Ukraine.
Ukraine could. Yeah.
But you fancy Germans to go through over 2 legs?
Over 2 legs, yeah. I would fancy. I hope they're there.
You're not bothered, are you, anyway?
Well, no, I hope they're there because it'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it, to to see England and Germany rematched over in the Far East.
Yeah.
But what Germany will have to do sooner or later, it's quite interesting. Last night, while England concentrated on youth, the oldest outfield player in the England team was 27, Nicky Barmby. Germany had only 2 players under 27 in their entire team. I think the Germans are going to have to bring in young players like Asamoah and Kale, players like that, and rejuvenate their side.
But then you look what happened the previous night. England's under 21s beat the German under 21s.
I think in the long term, I mean, England are now ahead of Germany, and it's up to Germany to catch up, and I don't think they can.
Let's put the Germans to one side now, as England's success did yesterday evening. When you think now, a lot of young players sort of came of age last night, will there be an element of, we've gone to Germany, we've won 5-1, we've made history, now in terms of confidence and self-belief, just as individuals, they'll now think, hang on, we can do this.
I think you saw that last night with Ashley Cole. I think in the first sort of 6-7 minutes, he wasn't completely on top of his game. And then he went flying into Janker, brought him down, great challenge, and he grew in stature, and I thought was one of the most influential players for England last night. So yes, they can.
I still think that there'll be a big question mark, and it will be about them defensively. I think midfield forward, outstanding with the players that they've got. Campbell and Ferdinand haven't played together very much, and that looked very evident in the first 10 minutes. And then you've got the goalkeeper problem. I mean, great save last night, undoubtedly coming towards the end of his career, but that's just Father Time catching up with him. And at the moment, if Seaman doesn't play, who plays? Richard Wright doesn't play at Arsenal. Yeah. Nigel Martin's played a few times, and when he's come in, he's actually made mistakes.
Yeah, there's only one player in that middle range, and that's David James, and unfortunately he's found consistency at this stage, so it might be time. And as for the central defensive deficiency that I think we all saw last night, particularly with the German goal, I think luckily, again, England have got strength and depth. You're worried about Sol Campbell? OK, bring in Wes Brown. Well, you know, maybe the most promising of all the youngs, well, apart from Ferdinand.
But we can't get away from the fact that it was one of the most astonishing results that's perhaps ever been recorded.
I was trying to think of one. I thought of Argentina 0, Colombia 5, wasn't it, a few years back. But apart from that, I can't think of another result that will have resounded around the world like that one. For years and years.
But you know the other thing about it as well.
Here we go.
No, seriously, you forget about September the 1st, 2001, England, Germany. You just need to say to people, 5-1. I mean, the whole plane was doing it this morning, weren't they? All the supporters getting on and going, what was the score last night? 5-1, they're all going, that's...
But have you got to guard against this kind of mentality? I mean, Paddy, how do you feel that Sven-Göran Eriksson will change the way that England supporters actually look? I mean, as a Scot, clearly we never really look too far ahead. No. It's one of these things that always take these games. Well, I know, but by the same token, is that a part of a mentality?
I don't think Eriksson will be able to. I don't think Eriksson will be able to dampen down the fervour of supporters. I mean, football mania. Chauvinist football mania is now out of control in this country. Fortunately, most of it is benign at the moment, but I still thought the behaviour of the England fans last night was impolite, unbelievably crass and impolite. What was the original question? I was determined to get that in.
Will Sven-Göran Eriksson change
I don't think there's anything he can do about the sort of rampant mania among the fans, people who know about football and people who don't, who've now been drawn in. Yeah, as they were by Gaza's tears in 1990 or whenever it was. But the main thing is that he's got to be able to control the professionalism of the team, and that is the area in which he's excelled so far. Yeah.
But the main point to remember from last night was the performance overall, sure. Yeah, that is what we should be taken away from.
Absolutely.
I think they're an incredibly professional bunch of players. I mean, I've never known an England squad which is more teetotal. You look at these guys, and they don't drink. They go off and have maybe the odd drink at the end of the season or when they've had a good match. But I mean, they are incredible. This is the broccoli generation. They come in after training. They have their multivitamins. They have their. I mean, who was it? One of the players was talking the other day about how to boil the fish properly, and it was like sort of Delia Smith sort of talking. Incredibly sort of proficient and well prepared.
Henry, if you don't boil the fish properly, actually, it doesn't work.
I ate out.